Is your water heater leaking? Well, this video is for you. We're gonna go into the top reasons why your water heater might be leaking and what you can do to address it. Also, we're gonna get into, should you replace it or should you repair it? Let's get into it. So this is your typical tank style water heater. This one's actually a gas water heater. So before we get into where it could be leaking and what to do about that, let's first go over the two things that you need to shut off. And that's the water up here going to the water heater and the gas going to the water heater. Now that's this valve right here, and we're gonna turn that 90 degrees, and that stops the gas going to the water heater. If there's a leak, you need to stop the water at the source. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find the valve over here, and we're gonna bring that down 90 degrees. And that's gonna ensure that there's no more water going to the water heater that it can leak out. A lot of times it's gonna be leaking internally, so you're not going to be able to see the leak. You're gonna just see water in the pan. Let's go over some of the components that could be leaking on your water heater. I like to do from the top down assessment on the water heater. The first thing I look for, is there any water on the top of the water heater? If so, we know the water's coming from the top. Now, if the water, you're just seeing it from the bottom, we know that it's coming from somewhere down here. So some of the components on this water heater where it can be leaking, this is called the drain down valve. A lot of times it'll start leaking out of this. This is the gas regulating valve. It actually could leak out of this right here. And a lot of times there's another tank encased in this tank right here, and then that goes bad. And you can't really see it, but it's leaking internally. There's really nothing we can do at that point. We have to replace it. So this is the TMP. Oftentimes this is where the water heater is leaking. Now a lot of times this won't be visual, we'll just be able to hear that it's hissing in here. This valve is designed to release the water so there's not enough pressure in the tank so it doesn't blow up. It can leak externally and it can leak internally. This valve right here can go bad and there can be water going by, but you're not going to see that on the floor. You're only gonna hear it. And what we want to do is we want to go check the outside. It actually drains outside. You should be seeing water coming outside the side of your house closest to the water heater. So as I'm looking at this water heater, I can tell that this water heater has leaked before. A bunch of discoloration in the pan. It looks to be fairly old. So the water heater pan, if it doesn't drain, then all this water is going to go in your home. So with tank style water heaters, it's not if it leaks, it's when it leaks. What I would do to address that is I would just pour water in this pan just to make sure it drains. If it doesn't, that means this 50 to 80 gallons is just going to go in your home, in your garage. And I would also say that checking your water heater every 3 months, especially if it's an older water heater, you're gonna wanna just put a visual on this. Make sure it's not leaking. Most of the time you can just open this closet here and see if it's leaking or not. And it's very important to do that because this can cause a lot of water damage. You can't drain 1 gallon, you definitely can't drain 50. So most of the time where the water heater is leaking is gonna be around the connections. Any pipe, any fitting connecting to a pipe is a good place where it could start leaking. So the last thing we're gonna go over is the PRV. The PRV is a pressure reducing valve. What it does is it reduces the pressure from your meter to your actual home. Your system is designed at 65 PSI. If it goes above that, it can cause massive leaks to the water heater and everywhere else in your home. If you got 65 PSI at your water meter, then you need to have your expansion tank set to 65 PSI. If the pressure to your expansion tank is not set properly, it will not work. So let's get into the expansion tank. Where it's gonna be leaking is at the connection. That's most of the time, that's where it's gonna be leaking. And that's true for all plumbing. Most of the time, it's gonna leak at the connection. So keep that in mind when you're inspecting your water heater. So what we can repair on a water heater and what we can't. So what we can replace on a water heater is the shutoff valve going to the water heater, the expansion tank, the TMP, the gas valve, the gas shutoff valve to the water heater, the boiler drain. Now, if this was an electric water heater, we would also replace the elements to the water heater. Those are the things we can repair. So the things that we can't repair on a water heater is mainly the tank inside it. So if that tank starts leaking at any point, it's time to get a new water heater. If this TMP valve was going into the tank, right, and that female adapter broke, we would not be able to repair that. Same thing if this connection to the gas valve, if it breaks at the female adapter in the tank, we cannot repair it. When it comes to replacing any of these items on your water heater, if the water heater is more than 10 years old, more than likely you don't want to invest a bunch of money in getting it working right when you know that you're just going to have to replace it. So there it is. We've gone over where the water heater typically leaks from and what you can do about it. If you need help with your water heater, call us today.